We've taken care of that by installing these protective boxes over them. The fire alarm company has come in and they've adjusted the sensitivity of these certain smoke detectors that we've had issues with. And I think we have it pretty well nailed down. Honestly, I can't say that it's not going to happen again in the future. False alarms do happen, but the ones that we've had have been taken care of, those issues.
That came as a result of Representative Babson letting me know that the fire department had an issue of coming periodically, more so than periodically, to the complex, and I thought it was the old nursing home, but it's the new nursing home.
Well, we did have a false alarm at the old nursing home as well. The construction crew set off a smoke detector. We had an issue of somebody cooking toast and burnt some toast that was too close to a smoke detector, that type of thing. We've had her move her toaster, consequently, but you know, things like that. Minor accidents do happen. False alarm is not out of the question in the future, but I can say that we've done our best to minimize those occurrences from happening, and you know, taking corrective action on those that have occurred.
Okay, the other issue that you had with the new nursing home was regarding identification of certain areas in the nursing home.
When they first programmed the fire alarm system, they programmed all the different areas. There's hundreds of devices in the smoke in the fire alarm system, and each one of these is addressable. It has a particular alphanumeric address that shows up on the display panel when there's a trouble or a fire alarm activation. These addresses were incomprehensible to the ordinary person who was not familiar with the construction plans. So that led to issues during fire drills of where is the fire? When we pulled an alarm in one neighborhood, saying in Chicarawa, in a stairway, nobody knew where stairway number 3 was. So what I did was I went through the list, multiple items, I readdressed everything so that they're readable to the average person who's going to be looking at it. Somebody can read it and say, generalize where the issue is. So we had to have Siemens come in and reprogram, retest all the devices to make sure that everything read properly, and that was done a couple of weeks ago. We had a follow-up fire drill, which was successful. So that issue has been taken.
Is there a map, a diagram right next to that?
Yes, right next to the fire panel there is a map that shows where all the devices are.
Okay. Very good. Any further questions from the director of the nursing home?
Yes, I do. We had a question here regarding turnover.
Right.
How much turnover there has been at the nursing home this year?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to give it to you the next time I come.
Thank you.
And Bob, did you want to bring the landscape information?
Yeah, while you're here.
Yeah, if you're ready.
Yeah, we had a bids that came in for landscaping, roughly of 90 trees and shrubs to be planted around the new nursing home. We had several bids come in, and the plant garden committee looked at them and reviewed them. And do you have a recommendation to the commissioner?
Well, as you touched on, the landscape committee was formed of employees of the nursing home as well as several members of the community, volunteers that stepped forward and donated their time generously to the committee. Multiple bids were presented. 4 in particular stood out, which were presented to the landscape committee. One bid in particular stood out from the rest. Salmon Falls Landscaping turned out to be, while they weren't the low bidder, they were the next to low bidder with only a difference in price of about $400. Their bid came in at $14,400, and they presented the best bang for the buck, if you will. They met the qualifications of the RFP. They included a few things that were not insisted upon, called for in the RFP. They're providing maintenance throughout the terms of their contract, which was unanticipated and welcomed. They were very professional. They were very knowledgeable in their product. The gentleman who made his presentation, and by the way, for the record, we did interview the applicants. They came before us and interviewed all 4 of those applicants. This gentleman was very professional, knew what he was talking about. They grow their own, well, I don't want to say all of them, but they grow most of the materials that they're going to be supplying themselves. They don't truck them in from out of state, so that led the committee to believe that they have a better handle on quality control. So the committee came to the conclusion that Salmon Falls Landscaping is the desired company to fulfill the contract.
There are, you think, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 people that were on that committee. Do you agree with what Bob has said regarding the report from the plant guidance committee?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Alvin.
Yeah, the committee was, I think, surprised at the level of service that Salmon Falls was going to provide, and the fact that they were within a few $100s of the lowest bidder. It became pretty apparent how we needed to vote. And anyone who wants to review the process through which we went, it was all filmed, so I'm not certain if it's...
It was all on film.
It's all on film, so all of the questions, the interview process, everything with the exception of the deliberation, which was strictly talking about the committee's personal reactions to the people presenting, was on film.
Anybody else on the committee want to make a comment? What did you feel that if we could make substitutions, they were agreeable to it?
Yes. We asked them to provide a list of items that were in the RFP, the designated vegetation, price those out on a la carte basis, and they were agreeable to make, not drastic changes, but they were agreeable to make changes if we decide to move a tree here or there, or change the type of product that goes in.
Okay.
Yes.
I think
What was the company name again?
Salmon Falls.
Salmon Falls.
Salmon
From where?
Falls.
From where else?
Berwick, Maine, I believe.
And what is their price?
$14,400.
14,500.
14,400.
Oh, 14,400. So
4 or 5.
the couple
Four.
companies came in. You had a chance to talk with them.
Yes, we interviewed.
They had a tour.
Yes.
So they had a tour. You had a chance to talk to them.
Yes.
And you look at all the bids and the proposals.
Yes.
And the committee talk with them, review everything, ask them questions,
Yes.
and then you come with a recommendation.
Yes.
And I like to make a comment further then. I find it so strange that we're talking about roughly $40,500 that these companies can come in, they get a tour, they get interviewed, and they have the price. And we're talking about a contract over $100,000, maybe 3-year contract over $300,000, and no company can come in and look what we have and give a presentation. That's the only thing what I want to say. Very strange.
For the record, for the public record, Commissioner Kenny and I selected out those 4 out of some 8 or 10 companies that put in for the bid. And those 4 that Commissioner Kenny and I picked out are the 4 that the committee looked at. They did not look at the other bids that came in. They had the opportunity to do that if they wanted to. They felt that the 4 bids were sufficient and that those bids could handle the job. So the recommendation is for Salmon Falls for $14,400 to do the landscaping of 90 plant materials.
Is that the motion, what you mean?
I will make that a motion.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the motion? That we accept the recommendation from the Plant Garden Committee with salmon falls of $14,400. All those in support of the motion say aye.
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 Make that unanimous. Thank you for that, for the report from the committee and the time that they put into looking into this particular phase. And any further comment on regarding the garden areas, the special areas?
We're hoping to meet, to have the committee meet again very shortly, and I was in contact with Kim Espinoza, who's a master gardener, this morning before I came over. She's looking at her schedule. What we'd like to do for the early spring into summer is we'll be putting potted material in both of the gardens, the neighborhood gardens, and then perhaps more focus on that come on establishing the garden later on in the late summer, early fall. That being said, we are going to begin to move the garden material into a designated bed, and that's where we're going to look at the property over the next week or so to decide where we would like to have that bed.
Yeah.
And so Patricia Johnson, who's a community member, I know that Maureen Spencer has been involved, former Commissioner Albee, Will, Bob, of course. We've all been involved, and we just want to begin the process, and we'll be looking for volunteers to assist us as we thin the plant material into the...
Yeah. And you got a couple garden clubs and Rotary people and so forth.
I believe Patricia Johnson is working with that, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, any further questions of the nursing home? Seeing none? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will, please. Good morning.
I just have a couple quick things to go over. Continuing to bag wood. We're about, as of this morning, we were just shy of 6,000, pretty close to 6,000 bags. My goal for this year has been 8,000 bags to start with, so we're gaining on that. In the meantime, we've run out of processed wood out there, so one of the next items on my list was that we're cutting and processing wood right now also. And when I say that, it's not green wood. These logs have been out there for about 1.5 years, so they do have some, season to them. Obviously, they're not cracked open and everything yet, but the bark is all falling off, so I think it's going to be good quality wood. Most of this later that we're bagging won't be delivered out until the later part of the summer into early fall. I started pruning blueberry bushes yesterday. So far, I've got a lot to go. I only got about an hour yesterday to spend on it, but the winter kill doesn't seem to be, so far, as bad as it was last year. They don't look too bad. The young ones, how well they're going to do, most of them, a couple of the Patriots and Spartans look pretty strong. The other varieties that we had down at the bottom there, they were smaller stock to begin with anyways, but I think they're going to be okay. Still a little early, but I'm starting to see a lot of buds and stuff.
Buds swell, they're swollen?
Some of them are, and some of them are in the midst of starting to swell.
Yeah. Just hope that we don't get a really deep frost. Right. Otherwise we'll have, I get the same problem.
Yeah. But I was happy to see that I wasn't cutting off nearly as much winter kill this spring as I did last year. Been doing some spring cleaning on spring maintenance on the lawnmowers. We generally have to buy a couple of new push mowers that I've talked about that through the budget process. We buy a couple cheap ones every year to have inmates use on areas we can't get with the riding mower. But before we go to do that, we go through our old stock of mowers and try to get everything up to snuff. I think we had to take one that was been here for 4 or 5 years, it's on its last leg, but we were able to take parts off of that and patch together some other ones. I like to have, in the vicinity of 5 to 6 mowers if we can. I like to have 4 that are doing the good lawns throughout the complex, and have a couple that we use in rough areas such as the blueberries bushes area down there. It's a little rough still, or probably in some of these new terrain features we're going to have to deal with this new nursing home. Maybe a little rough in there at the beginning, so it'd be nice to have some of those differentiate between the mowers. I've ordered the seeds and equipment, and what I mean by equipment, the black plastic mulch the drip tape, things of that nature that we order from the company for the garden. So I've got all the seeds in. I haven't got them in yet, excuse me, but I've ordered all the seeds, and we're adding some new varieties this year of things. My goal has been, since I've been here, to try to add on something new every year. This year we've taken a pretty good leap of what we're adding on. We're going to do 3 different types of winter squash. I'm not growing large quantities of winter squash yet because we want to get through a year and see how well processing it up will be for the kitchen. But we did discuss, Rob and I, of doing some and seeing how it goes. So we're doing that. We're adding a few other things on. Back to the landscaping that we were just talking about this week, we moved. There were 3 flower boxes that you should call them flower boxes, but that were built over at the old nursing home.
Raised beds?
Yeah,
Raised beds.
you know, they were just built probably 2 or 3 years ago, I think, at the most. We moved those over this week. We were able to take those out, brought them over, brought some new dirt down from the mulch pile, and filled that up for them. Water meter readings were done last week, as we talked about. Something that I would like to do that I'll report to you in the future, just an idea, is I'd like to pull the first quarter, I haven't had time yet, but the first quarter of last year's water consumption to the first quarter of this year's water consumption, to see if the new nursing home has, affected it at all, if there's a dramatic increase or a little increase. I don't think that it's been a dramatic increase. I think it's been not too bad, but it'd be nice to compare that, so I'll do that and present that to the commissioners at some point. Ordered some more bags. This time of the year I try to order in the bags that we're going to need for all the bag campfire wood, so that we have them on hand as we go through the season and we go through the winter, that we have all the bags that we're going to need. So we ordered those and had those come in. And been getting fertilizer prices and formulas. I had a formula that the Cooperative Extension, Russ Norton, helped me come up with, that we thought, based off the soil samples that we would like to run. Got a price on that, and I'm a little bit sketchy on that price. I think it's a little high, so I'm doing some research to dig up what we paid for the average things of last year, and then see if maybe instead of getting that one formula, I can get something closer that'll be a little more affordable, so we can get more quantity of it, because I'm worried that with that amount of price we wouldn't get enough to cover our fields.
I think because fuel prices are going up, fertilizer prices have gone up too.
Right. So I just want to compare before we, this is the formula that I wanted, but I'd like to compare some of the prices of some other ones that are close to see if it's a little bit less, or it's worth it to go with a different one, or if we should stick with this one. So I'm working on that at this time also.
Putting lime on this year too?
I'm hoping to put some lime on some fields. Most of them that we've ran the soil samples on, quite surprisingly, the pH has been pretty good.
Really?
Which I've been surprised. It's probably been, a lot of the fields, it's been around the 6.2 to 6.5 range. I did have 1 or 2 fields that were around 6 or 5.9 to 6 that I would address some of the lime with those possibly, but the majority of our high production fields have been pretty good in the range.
Okay.
And that's all I had, if there was any questions.
And you reported that you hired somebody, right?
Yes.
What was his name?
Joe Duchesne.
From Center Ossipee.
From Center Ossipee, yes.
Okay.
I had a meeting yesterday with the advisory committee for the Blue Loon, the bus service for the county. And I happened to bring up, they were talking about coming down to show the people, the public, or give the people in Ossipee, at the Ossipee Fair, their buses and their routes and etc. Anyway, I suggested, and I hope it's all right with you, that they come down to the farm day. Is that proper? Is that okay?
I think so. I think the more people we can have, I mean, the more people we can have, the better.
Yeah, and perhaps even stay there so that people could ask them questions about the buses and et cetera?
Mhm.
Is that possible as
I think
well?
so. Let me, I don't think, do you want, so you more or less suggesting maybe that they have kind of like a booth set up?
Kind
so
of
people
like
could come
that,
and talk
except
to
their
them?
booth would be their bus,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, I don't, let me make sure I can run that by the committee, but I don't think that anybody that sits on the committee would have objections to it, because I think that would be a good thing for our community also.
Thank you.
Regarding the bus, I did see 2 people on that bus the other day here. First time I've seen it. But
People are getting used to it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just a question, were you going to award?
You got a point of order? Yeah?
Were you going to award the screening of the loan bid?
I have one bid right now. It hasn't been opened. I'll give it to Commissioner Kenny. The bid deadline, I believe, is next week.
Oh, it's next week.
I believe it's next week.
We had
I don't have
talked,
that right
we
in
had
front of
talked
me.
during the agriculture, or the landscaping meetings, about a deadline of May 1st.
Right.
So I presume that you were going to do it this week, but if it's next week, it's next week, that's fine.
We had one company from Conway. The gentleman is Jeff Layton. He called me, wanted to know the size of the screening, and we agreed on 1/2 inch to 3/4. He also said that it was the wrong time of year to screen because it's wet, and so it takes longer for it to go through the screen. And he came down and looked at the pile, right?
Yes, he came down, spent a good little while out there talking to him, asking questions about where different things would go, logistic things before he wanted to place his bid in. So I spent some time out there with him, telling him what I foresaw of what we would want.
Okay.
Because I notified a couple of different people over in Tuftonboro that have screeners.
Have them get their bids in.
They haven't bid yet.
This bid came in. How
Came
did
in
it
by
come
email, and I think
By
that people...
email?
Yeah, well, by
Also,
computer.
also you can just email your bid?
Yeah. And what happens is the secretaries put it in an envelope and seal it.
So somebody email a bid, huh?
Well, that's the way some of the others came in.
Some of
That-
the others what?
Some other bids that came in
For what?
for
Other things?
plant material and so
Oh,
forth.
I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
that. So you can just email your bid?
Yeah.
Oh.
And whoever takes it off the
And put
computer
it there?
puts it in an envelope. That's why it's marked Carroll County.
Yeah.
And
And,
that's why it's marked,
but why, I don't see a date in, when do they receive this? It's
we'll
not
have to-
marked.
well,
Who got it? Who gave this to you?
I don't know who in the office got it. I'm assuming Laurie did, but
I
the
like
bid,
to
the date
have
of the
a
bid
date
should be
in.
on the bid
But
itself.
when it is received, I like to have a date on
Okay.
all the bids.
Would you mention that to the secretaries downstairs? Okay. Anything else, Will?
I don't have anything.
Do you have anything?
No.
Anything else?
No,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Will.
Jason? Did you bring up that letter?
No, I'm sorry, was I supposed to? Do you want me to get it?
Yeah.
What letter am I looking for?
What's that?
What letter am I looking for?
From
Oh,
Andrew Construction.
yes.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Population this morning, we had 58 in-house, 1 weekender, 12 transfers, 4 out on electronic monitoring, 9 pretrial release, total population of 84. Took in 15 inmates last week, 5 were repeaters, and released 13. 1 came in for a warrant, booked 5 times in 15 years, 1 for protective custody, booked 3 times in 2 years, 1 for electronic bench warrant times 2, booked 5 times in 3 years, 1 for protective custody, booked 8 times in 16 years, and 1 for possession of drugs in a motor vehicle, booked 3 times in 2 years. Last week we put the ad out for the Ford van. The Dodge pickup is up to have the frame welded and taken care of. The signs are in from the prison. We need to get the posts. They didn't send the posts like I ordered, so I've got to go down and pick those up.
Can you pick those up Friday?
I won't be down on
Or
Friday.
you're not going to the academy?
I can't.
Okay.
So I'll be in Concord tomorrow in a class, so I can
Okay.
go over there and pick them up then. Let's see, we had to send an inmate on administrative transfer to Stratford County for some housing issues, and they sent us one, so we swapped them out. Patandi Construction came in last Thursday, as you're aware, and made the repairs that they said they were gonna do. Ed Bergeron's gonna be in this afternoon around 1 o'clock to look at the area that they brought up last week. We had an issue with the number 1 boiler yesterday. Joe reported that it lit up like it was supposed to, but it wouldn't stay lit. So he's contacted Strojan's, and they're gonna be coming in today. Let's see, and we're going to be rehiring one of our former officers who left in 2009 to go out west. She's returned, interested in coming back to the facility. I have an interview with her later this afternoon, and she'll be starting next Monday. This is just she's already been hired, she's doing the paperwork at this point. And as you're aware, we have one officer graduating the academy on Friday. Going to be sending 2 in the next academy, which will start in early May.
The next one?
Now we're doing 3 this year.
You mentioned Ed Bergeron is coming in. Do we have to pay him? For what is he coming? He's coming for what?
To do is, because of that construction company last week brought up some concerns of an area in the wall, that he was contacted by our attorney to come in and look at the structural integrity.
This is like the clerk of the works to make sure that this guy, Patandi, did the job correctly. It was the advice of the county, of the attorney that handled the case with SMRT, that this, and you checked into this company to make sure that it was appropriate to do. They had some problems, as we discussed last week, and those problems have been addressed.
Yes, they were fixed last Thursday.
Are you doing this for other companies too? That somebody's coming in and if they check some work?
Not unless it's requested because of possible shoddy work, would we have somebody come in. And because this gentleman said that it might appear again, the attorney suggested that we have an engineer come back in and check out the work that was done.
Why is there not a building inspector come? Cannot somebody from the town of Ossipee come and check this out?
It's possible that could happen.
Why are
Yeah, we
we
have
not
not.
going that road? I mean, because we're going to pay Ed Bergeron again. How much is his fee?
Well, he's only going to look at one area, and that's where the weld is up above
Correct.
the captain's office, up in that corner,
Mm-hmm.
right? I had the bill from Patandi. It was $9,013. And we'll wait until, I guess, Bergeron checks out his work,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Before we pay it.
Can I see it?
I inspected the jail on Monday. I spent more time with individual officers and also medical staff. Yes, I glanced at the cleanliness of the place and so forth, but I was impressed and a little scary in the control room. That one person that's in that control room has to look at 4 monitors. She's got officers submitting attendance in the different compartments through that opening window. She's got to unlock doors for so many different people going so many different areas. I would think that job was very, what do I want to say? I'm glad it's being rotated.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
The poor correctional officer that was there, she was busy all the time. I mean, I tried to have a little conversation with her to learn more about what she does, and it was difficult because she was interrupted all the time by all these things that are going on. She did an excellent job. I won't say that, but